you just go for natural light, or you use on-camera flash, a few lights, something like that?
Depends where I am, depends what time of the day it is, and depends what I'm going for.
Okay.
In terms of the look and feel of their photos, which is a lot of times governed by what I've learnt about them during the day in the getting ready, the ceremony, and that sort of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Good question, though. Yeah. Anyway.
How realistic is it to create a nice portfolio completely without artificial lighting other than a flash in terms of portrait? Without a studio?
Are you talking without a studio to shoot in, or without using artificial light sources?
Without artificial light sources, but just like finding locations indoor and outdoor.
It's easy. Yeah, it would. Sorry, I don't mean to. It's easy if you know how to look for the light. So if you know that, okay, outside, in an outside environment, I'm going to look for that natural glow, and I'm going to take my subject there, and I'm going to shoot there, then it's easy. If you don't know how to look for that light, or you don't know what you're looking for, or you're maybe inexperienced with camera settings or that sort of thing, then it's going to be a challenge. The fact that you're here now means you've got no excuse. Sorry.
The only people I've ever shot is skaters at the skate park, and it's easy. It's like, there's the sun, they're coming out of the bowl there, so I need to stand there and get a good shot and just be quick enough to get them out in the air or something.
Yep.
I'm looking at, dances up on a roof, on a car park rooftop, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Something more different and
So
more directed.
the moment that you don't have enough light to freeze the motion, or the moment that you need to drop your shutter speed to get an exposure that is decent, and then you start losing sharpness because of motion, that's when you need that artificial light.
Yeah.
So you can, I know hundreds of I'm a natural light photographer. What happens when it gets dark?
Yeah.
Do you go home?
That's like when I take photos of surface, anything after 5 o'clock,
Yep.
it's really hard.
Yep. And when you're in a situation like that where you say surfers, for example, you have no control. You can't get a flash out there.
No.
Like
no.
you've just got to do what you can. You've just got to do the best that you can do. I live right next to a skate park, and my lovely Hayley had an exchange student from Italy, and before we worked out he was a bit of a knob, we were going to take some photos for him, and we take him to the skate park, and I was going to set up some flashes and do some really cool skate photos.
Yeah.
But we didn't do that. But that's another thing that I would challenge you to do. Have you got off-camera flash?
Yeah.
Have you used it?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't know. I just go on days when I know the light is good. I don't go at midday. I go in the morning or later in the afternoon.
So let me ask you another question. Does that fulfill your soul?
So far, yes, but obviously not, because I'm now looking at other things to do. I have these ideas that I want to create.
Yep.
But again, I have to go early in the morning or late in the afternoon, because you don't want the midday sun melting down.
This is a comfort zone.
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause-
but
Grab your flashes and just, if you do nothing else but set them up opposing each other,
okay.
and your skater goes up and down, and so they do that. If that's all you do, give it a shot.
Because like all the lighting and flashing, it terrifies me.
And it used to terrify me as well, and now it's probably 90% of what I do.
Okay.
Give it a shot.
All right.
Yeah,
I will.
yeah. Do something different.
My speed light.
Don't be scared. Don't be scared. The new Canon ones are really easy to use.
Sorry, just a question.
No, sorry. yeah.
When you use flash, especially with dark skin,
Yep.
do you get the color right?
Good question. So very carefully, and a lot of times with dark skin, I'm using a softbox or something like that, because if you have a flash without some kind of diffuser, say you flash just with a grid, then you can turn that dark skin white, and you get that white part and then dark, and it's even more shadowy and it's even more harder to see. So in that scenario, you need that softbox. You need something to soften it, and you need to bring the light closer. Closer. Diffused, soft, closer. Yep. And that's just it's gonna make things a lot nicer. If you've got a 5-in-1 reflector, like we've all heard it, 5-in-1 reflector, dark skin, the gold side. But silver works just as well, but the gold just kind of gives it a little bit more of a glow. Yep. All right. But closer, diffused. With the speed light or something, with a reflector, you just got to get the right angle. Yep. All right. Posing, directing. We good? Yep.
Let's go.
All right.
Not more of your photos, is it?
No.
I couldn't resist.
These are some very nice Russian photos, yeah? So, have you ever seen a photo and asked yourself, what the hell were they thinking?
I like the group hug.
What? Look at this. If I could make this bigger, like there's the mum and dad in a bit of a passionate sort of situation behind all the kids, and all the kids are like, far out. This is a bit weird. Like, and then we can all remember, I'm sure everyone saw it, the naked family photo where they're all stacked on top of each other. There is one of those, a family photo, and they're all naked and they're all stacked on top of each other. I spent half an hour looking for it on Google today, so don't look at my search history. Because it's your family. Are you on the top or the bottom?
Too much information.
So I looked for that because but it's not. I can't find it anywhere. I particularly love this one because there's a lovely homeless dude with a black eye and two in the background. I'm like, dude, you could have at least pointed a toe. At the very least. Like, if you're going to have a homeless guy, like, point a toe at least. Okay? This is the Photoshop glitter roll.
Yeah.
And so's this. I am proud, so proud to say I've never done any shit like that.
So they're not your photos?
No.
I asked that too.
Nor have I ever done the wedding photos where the T-Rex is chasing them or there's an X-Wing fighter shooting them or...
Oh my gosh, I could not believe someone I know, that was her wedding photos down at the Gold Coast.
It's just...
On a golf course, and these T-Rexes are chasing her.
Yeah.
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 Oh, dear.
Palmer Coolum Resort. So please, 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 I beg you, stay away from cheesy, because cheesy may not ruin your career, but it'll definitely stop it from going anywhere. Okay? So just have a cheese-free diet when it comes to shooting things. And the easiest way to do that is to think about, right, I'm in a scene, I've got a subject, a couple, whatever. What would be the reason that they're here? We need to give our subjects a reason to be in the scene. When you think about what that reason is, and you think about where the lighting's coming from, that's going to give you an idea on, okay, this is how I'm going to direct them now. This is what I'm going to get them to do. It might be holding hands walking. It might be picking her up and spinning her around. It might be a dude just leaning on the wall. It might be a girl just swishing her dress. Like, give them a reason to be there. A real natural reason. And you'll never shoot crap like this. I promise. Even with families, even in a studio, don't do that. God. Like, there's so many better ways to direct people. Like, when it comes to bridal parties, I will do it all the time. I'll line them all up like it's a big old mug shot, and then I'll go through and I'll direct each one of them. And every single one is different. and then I'll direct them all, my settings are already right, and then I'll turn around to go step back to take the shot, and when I say it, I'll go, just hold that there guys, I'll be back in half an hour. And then that loosens them up a little bit, and then I swing around and I can grab a whole lot of photos where they're going, oh. And it's real and it's natural, even though I have directed them. I've got a girl with a hand up on a guy's shoulder. I've got a girl holding flowers with a hand on a hip. I've got guys with their hands in their pockets. I've got all different things going on. So give them a reason to be there, and then you won't have anyone saying, what were you thinking? All right? So before we dive deep into the posing and stuff, and I want to redirect people's perspectives a little bit. Because when you hear posing and directing and stuff like that, it can have a negative connotation, because people feel that if you're directing them or something like that, then they will get, or they may get, self-conscious. When I have couples in my studio, I ask them a very brutal question. I say to them, guys, do you have anything you're self-conscious about? Because guys are normally self-conscious about this, I know I am, bald heads, double chins, yep. Girls, you're concerned about bums, arms, little chicken fillets, and maybe the odd chin, but everyone's got something, unless you've got a very healthy dose of, self-confidence. And I'll ask that question and I'll go, right, is there anything that you're self-conscious about? What do you want me to, minimize? Because in doing what I do, I can amplify strengths and hide any perceived weaknesses that you have. So please tell me, and then I can help. And so in doing that, I ask that question and they feel comfortable to tell me. Now, in asking that question, there's also a big part that rests solely on you as the photographer. So you need to walk into any shoot with a thing called unconditional positive regard, where you walk into that shoot without any negative perceptions, judgments, or anything about the person you're photographing. Because if you look at someone and in your mind, you don't say it, God forbid, but in your mind you think they're ugly, that's how you're going to photograph them. Everyone's beautiful until you give me a reason not to be. Okay? I don't know why I looked at you then, but... So everyone, as far as I'm concerned, everyone is beautiful until you give me a reason to not think that. All right? So the next step to that unconditional positive regard and walking in and going, right, beautiful human, how can I make you look even more amazing? The next step to that is to photograph that person, direct and pose that person through the eyes of a loved one. What I mean by that, if you're photographing the dude, look at him through the eyes of his partner. Try to step into her shoes or his shoes, whatever, and shoot him that way. Because she's going to see the beauty in him, the resonance, the light in him, and all that sort of stuff. And if you see that in him or her, you're going to photograph that. So step into the eyes of the person that loves the other person and try and photograph that. I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah.
I love you. So try and step into that. It's a big step, but it's something that will change the way you shoot, and it will change the way you direct. It'll even change the way you talk to people.
I know our daughter has a dance studio and I take photos, and we have a couple of little girls that are 10 and they're an XL woman's size costumes. And they come in and we go, why don't you turn a little more on the side for your photo and lift your chin a little bit and just play around with, things, but you're actually trying to pose them into angles that will just help them, complement them.
Yeah.
Because you've got it, because the kiddies, it's circumstance that's made them that size.
Yeah.
And it's just what you try and do to make it a nice photo for them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I'm a big advocate for this. And it's very hard for someone to say, well, just walk in and change your perspective. It takes practice. But the one thing that it all refers back to is if you want to be a better photographer, be a better human. Because you'll see so much more in people and you'll be able to bring out so much more. And they will give you more back.
Do you ever retouch a face? Like some people might have a pimple there, or I mean, look at Claudius Schaefer.
All the time.
Yeah.
Do you actually take those out, or do you say to them, do you want them in, or should I take them out? Because some people get offended.
I ask that question.
Right.
Yeah. When I say to them, is there anything you're self-conscious about? I'll normally get an answer.
Yeah.
If I don't, normally I get something, I pick something up during the day and I work out what that is. So I won't, I have a bride last year who's very, very nasty at me because she jokingly said, can you make my bridesmaids fatter so I look thinner? And I said no. But it's out there. So it's a question I ask, and I'll never change someone's body image. Like I'll never adjust unless they ask. So when I'm doing an album plan session, I'll say to them when we're done and we're going through the last thing, I jokingly say, right guys, this is the time where I get rid of bald heads, double chins, all that sort of stuff. Are you all good? And I say it jokingly. But 9 times out of 10, she will say, oh, can you just make my arms a little bit thinner? Or can you do this? Or can you do that? And I go, yep, no worries. And I do it with them right there and then in the room.
Yeah, in camera, not in Photoshop.
No, in Photoshop. Like I do it.
You do?
Yep. I take them as they are, but I direct them in such a way that I don't need to do that work afterwards. So if she's self-conscious about her arms and I say to her, make sure you get a veil for the day. Oh, but why? Because if you're self-conscious about your arms, I can pull your veil around and I can hide anything like that. I can direct her in such a way that she leans over so the arm's not pressing against her body. I can not shoot her like that. There's a whole lot of different stuff that I can do to change that scenario so that I don't need to go back through in Photoshop and suck things in afterwards.
That's what I mean, do it with the
But sometimes there's only so much you can do.
You liquefy and things like that?
If I'm asked to, yeah. Yep. But I'll always ask the question and I'll let them be the one who says, can you do that? I don't volunteer it. Okay? All right. So, posing for women from the feet up. Can I please borrow you? Thanks. Everyone, this is Hayley. She makes me cry. No, she doesn't. Sometimes. So I want to show you all a little trick. My grandfather always said to me, make sure you've got a handkerchief at all times. And God love him. I do. So I want to show you all a little trick that blew my mind. All right? And we're going to turn this on. Probably going to destroy Benny's light, but anyway. So, actually, can you just go there for me for 1 sec? So, when it comes to posing, the first thing that I always do is I turn the body away from the light and I turn the head back in. This blew my mind. This is a rectangle, yeah? Imagine I'm posing a lady. 9 times out of 10, we want to achieve like an hourglass look, okay? Because that's what most of the time, I'm going into a minefield here, but most of the time that's what people want, okay? So if we photograph her standing like Hayley is, equally weighted, I'm not showing off anything, I'm photographing a rectangle. The moment I turn the body away from the light and turn the head back in.
Wow. Yeah, gosh.
I know! It blew my mind. I'm sitting there in Malaysia and the guy's done that and I've gone, you're a fucking genius. Right? So we're photographing. I'm mental, aren't I? Yeah. Don't worry, you can have a break in like 5 minutes. So body away from the light, head back in. That's an instant hourglass shape. So Hayley, can you stand here? Stand equally weighted facing that way. Just go this way a little bit. And if ever I'm ever going to touch a bride, a groom, doesn't matter. I will always ask them, can I touch you? And in the end, normally a bride will say, just for God's sake, just move me, because I'll ask every single time. Do that. Be that person, because then you're never ever going to get in trouble. All right. So we've got light coming from the side, Hayley standing equally weighted, and she's got a lovely figure, but it's rectangle now. The moment that we turn the body away from the light a little bit, turn the body back in,
She's just copying some light from the projector, so it's not it's probably not as predominant. There we go.
Okay. Go away.
So, now, straighten that. Yep. So, she knows what to do. So straight away she's bent the leg, point the toe closest to the camera. She's already done that because she knows all of this. Hayley's also a model. Anyone wants a lovely model? Hayley and her daughter are amazing, right? So she turned her body away from the light, turned her head back in. Instantly, that changes all of this. Okay? So we're wider here, or this area. We come in here, wider here, and then when she points her toe that way towards the camera and then rolls her, just take your foot back to here. Yep. Points her toe towards the camera, rolls her knee over her other knee. Then we've got that hourglass shape down to here with your leg. So we're doing that, okay? That is the first step in posing, relax, in posing any female. That's the first thing that I always do. Body away from the light, head back in. And then I follow these steps. So body away from the light, head back in, point the toe closer to the camera towards the camera. So Hayley, come over here. We're both going to do it, okay? So light's coming from that way, and it's a bit hard to see with this, but light's coming from that way, so we turn the body away from the light, turn the head back in. Then we're going to point the toe closer to the camera towards the camera, because when they turn, there's always going to be one leg that's closer to the camera than the other. Whatever is closer to the camera looks bigger, whatever is further away looks smaller. Put a pin in that. So point the toe, bend the knee, so that knee comes over. If you do this for a guy, he's going to look fabulous. Don't unless he wants that, okay? So, because I probably look fabulous, and there's a camera on me right now, which normally happens at a wedding anyway. So,
You've got a nice hourglass.
yeah, thanks. Thanks, mate. Thanks, mate. That's why she likes me. So, point the toe towards the camera, bend the knee, shift the weight back. The easiest way I can describe that is the little teapot. So why do I do that? Point toe, bend knee, shift the weight back. Whatever is furthest away from the camera looks smaller. Whatever is closer to the camera looks bigger. That's why all the skinny bitches in red carpet always go like that. And yes, so if you do the little teapot thing and tip over a little bit, top half is closer to the camera, bottom half is away from the camera. We've got that hourglass shape. And then because you tip over, because you're a human in society, you'll level your head. Automatically you'll level your head because it's like, oh, I feel a bit weird. So you'll automatically level your head. And what that does is it takes away your double chin. Point toe, bend knee, shift your weight back, lean forward with the chest, and you'll automatically pick the chin up. So then, what do we do with arms? We don't want to have arms on the body because we're promoting that rectangle. This is where we can do that. We can do that. We can do that. We can do that. So if you're photographing a bride, she's flowers. So traditional full length, like that. Okay, so if she's holding flowers, so can you please hold my flowers? So and just relax. Don't think. Yep. Point toe, bend the knee, shift way back. Yes. So normally in a wedding dresses are tighter through here. Most of them don't have arms. Yeah? So if she's holding the flowers there, we've got a gap in here. Right? Now, I'm not saying do that because that's going to look weird. That's going to get you into the whole Russian thing. Right? So just relax those arms, and then when you've got a gap, we want to see a gap in here. Because whenever you've got that gap, that's showing body shape. Okay? When there's no gap, it gets blocky. All right? Don't turn it off. Don't turn it off. We'll move.
No, I can just move the light.
Oh, okay. Benny's hand's on fire. So does that land for everyone?
Yeah, it does.
Yep.
What's if it's a pregnant woman?
What do you want to highlight?
Yeah.
But you don't want her to look like rectangular, same sort of pose.
Same. It's exactly the same.
With the belly.
It starts from the feet.
Yeah.
Like if you do that,
So what if the light's
Done.
from above? Doesn't really matter.
then it can change a little bit, because if light's from above, where are you shooting from? If you're shooting from above, then it can still be that, but he might need to, if you've got a bride and a groom, he might need to lean her back, like that first photo that I showed you, so that the light from above, she's looking up.
What if the light's from above and you're shooting over from here? Same scenario.
Then you have to ask yourself the question, well, what do I want to achieve from this shot? What do I want to showcase? And in doing that, are they going to look natural in this environment with this light? So it's a how long is a piece of string kind of question, because it's like there's so many other variables that are involved in that scenario with what you want to achieve, who they are, what they want, what else is around, and all that sort of stuff. So my advice to you is work out where the light's coming from, then work out what you want to achieve and what they want to achieve from that particular scene. And don't be afraid, and I've done this you've witnessed this, I've done this before, thinking I'm going to grab a great shot, and I grab it and I go, what was I thinking? Like, it's not going to work. Don't be afraid to go, guys, it's just not working. It's not you, it's me. Like, I always say that. And I'll say to them, look, I thought it was going to be cool, but the lighting's not quite right. It's not you, it's me. Let's go and find something better, because you're much better off, and there's so many more abundant areas of light that you can work in that are easier to work in than potentially the thing that you're struggling with. So in that scenario, it might be a case, if the light's coming from above, can you jump up on the cliff above them, or can you Can you jump in the car and go somewhere else? Can you walk around the corner and use that light coming from above that's reflecting off a wall that's going that way now? And then like that reflected light from that lady that I showed you. So there's the questions that are involved that you need to ask yourself. Yeah. So body away from the light, head back in. Point the toe, bend the knee, shift your weight back. Yep. Lean forward with, so I don't, if you say to someone lean forward, they're going to do that. I say lean forward with your chest, because everyone in the world's going to go like that. Okay? And notice the leg. The leg's got to move for you to go forward like that, especially if you're shifting your weight to one side as a female. So as she tilts forward, lean forward with your chest, arms off the body in whichever way that you want to do it. Use what's around you, so use flowers, use hands on hips. When you're going to do hands on hips, don't do this. It looks terrible unless it's some high fashion kind of... Fashion breaks a lot of the rules of posing. Doesn't always look good, but they break them anyway. When the rule with, in my humble opinion, the rule with hands on hips is fingers forward, thumb back, like that, and then drop the wrist. Let everything relax.
Do you put it on the hip or on the waist?
Good question. Thanks for asking. So, as humans, your brain, we read top left to bottom right. The universe said top left, bottom right, you're going to dig it. So, when you're photographing someone, if you're going hands on hips, if you go level, normally they're going to be standing equally weighted. Like this is the Superman pose, yeah? But if you've done that, you're going to have one hip higher than the other. So what I always do is top left to bottom right. So I'll put the hand on the left-hand side up a little bit higher than the hand on the right. So the hand on the left may be on the waist, hand on the right may be on the hip. And it's just top left to bottom right. It's just more aesthetically pleasing. Yeah. But it's always fingers forward, thumb back, drop the wrist. This doesn't look cool at all. You know, this doesn't look cool. It's all a bit weird. That's the way to do it. And then the final thing, so point toe, bend the knee, shift your weight back. Lean forward with the chest, arms off the body. I've gone blank. Can we turn that back on for a sec?
Shoulders back.
No, that's lean. Yes. If I had a prize, I'd give it to you. If it bends, bend it. So that's the wrist. Thank you. I was driving here and I just completely forgot a whole heap of stuff today. So if it bends, bend it. So that's arms, wrists, like anywhere with a joint. If it's straight, you're going to look scared. Simple as that. When everything's bent and flowing, and we're going to get into hands and stuff after this, but when everything's nice and flowing, everything looks soft. But those points, if you only do those points when posing a female, she will always look the best that she possibly can. If she's concerned about arms and she's got a veil, wrap it around. If she's concerned about arms, you're doing a portrait shot, say, hey, have you got a jacket? Bring some extra clothes to wear. All right? Mm-hmm. Anything that she's concerned about, think about it and go, right, how can I hide that? Whether it might be clothes, it might be shadow, it might be anything like that. Okay? But if you do those steps, she'll always look the best she possibly can. Mm-hmm. Cool? Yep. There's num-nums over there for about 10 minutes.